Hey everyone, it's JoJo. I have had many requests for the recipe of how I make my homemade nut butter. Had a ton of people heard that I made it, that I made homemade peanut butter and homemade nut butters, and so everyone wants to know how to do it. So if you go to the store now, raw organic nut butter can cost a lot for a jar. So what I do instead is I go to, say I go Sprouts or Whole Foods, and I buy raw organic nuts out of the bulk bin, right? So you can do this with any nuts that you want, whatever is your favorite. I choose not to use peanuts because I know that peanuts run a little bit more on the moldy side, but my husband loves peanut butter. So I love to use the ones that are not salted, so I can add a little bit of my own salt in, but you can totally play with this however you want to. If you wanted to make your own Nutella, you could do cocoa, you could add a little bit of honey in. I try not to add all the extra stuff in, but if you wanted to make it for your kids and you wanted to sweeten it up a little, you could do that. So what you're gonna need is a food processor. I've never done it in the blender. I won't say that it won't work, but the food processor works the best. I just have a little teeny one, works great. You will need a glass jar. You can use your old peanut butter jar if you want to. This is just a 24-ounce canning jar that I actually had honey in at one point and just reused. So this is, I'm gonna do a ½ cup serving. So these, I have walnuts, pistachios, Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts, pecans, and hazelnuts. And that's what's gonna go all mixed together in my nut butter today. So no peanuts for me. I typically don't do almonds because they don't like me too much. I like them, they don't like me. And I don't do cashews very often. So, and you also need a cookie sheet and a scraper. So pretty simple amount of tools. And you want to heat your oven to, depending on where you are, 250 to 275. And all you want to do, we're not roasting the nuts, all we're doing is just warming them up so the oil starts to release from them. When the oil releases from them, then that helps to make that sort of the lubricant for your food processor, so you don't have to add in extra oil, which I love. So all you do really basically is take the nuts and spread them out evenly on your cookie sheet. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but we're just gonna take them and spread them on here. Doesn't matter. Typically if you do one cookie sheet full, that will be enough, like about a perfect size, just to make just under a jar. So can you see? There's the nuts. Pretty simple. I'm gonna stick them in the oven for like 5 to 7 minutes. As soon as I can start to see the oil release in them, then I'm going to take them out and put them in the food processor. So I'll be right back. Okay, so they're out of the oven. They will be hot, so don't try to grab them and throw them in there. I always scoop them in with a little spatula. Depending on how many you do, you might have to do 2 batches or 1. Depending on, this has more Brazil nuts in it, so it may take up more space. So scoop it in. Till it just gets right to the top. So now I use the little top of my blade as the measure of where I want to stop it. And start grinding. So at first it's going to be really loud and then it'll start to break down. So this may be loud for a second. So you see really quickly that it starts to break down into sand. Okay, so now we're just gonna let this run for a few minutes. So just so you guys have an idea, this is about 30 seconds in and you can see that it's like broken down into little sand. So it's gonna go through like 5 different stages. So it's gonna seem weird because it changes consistency a whole bunch of times. So I'll hop back on when it changes again. So you'll start to notice as it's still sandy, but it will start to sort of get stuck to the sides. So make sure that you're knocking it down off the sides so it's coming through. I have actually stuck my spatula through the center to try and knock it down, and I've eaten the spatula, so I don't do that anymore. All right, we're gonna keep going. Okay, so we're at like 2.5 minutes since the last time I popped on. And so you'll see that I've stopped it probably 3 or 4 times in that time to knock the powder down. But now it's starting to get sticky. So you'll see that it starts to clump up together. So you may have to stop it now and then just to break it up, but you want to keep going so you know when you're getting to that little sticky point that it's doing really well. So keep going. Okay, so what'll happen is it starts to form into a little ball, almost like a ball of dough, and you know you're getting close. So right after it turns into that ball of dough, let it spin and let it spin, and it will start to break down on its own. You shouldn't have to break it down again. So keep going. So now we've gone maybe another 1.5 minutes. So you can see that now I like my butter creamy. So this is almost the perfect consistency for me. Vinny likes his a little bit crunchy. So I will actually stop a little sooner than this. And then I'll also leave some extra nuts out and put them in like very last minute. So when it breaks them down, they're still really like larger pieces in there. And so like here's Vinny's, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but this is the peanut butter that I made the other day, and there's a bunch of, it's really chunky. So it's really yummy too. So, depending on what consistency you want it, woo, sorry, you can see how creamy that is. So if you're good there, you're good. But one thing that you may want to do is that as you spin your last little bit, now I used a little bit of salted macadamias, so there's a little bit of salt in here already. But what I want to do is actually add a little bit of salt. So I just put a little teeny bit in. You don't need much, and just to give it a little bit of salt flavor. So I used some sea salt or some pink salt, depending on what's sitting around. And really, you're done. Scoop it into your jar, and you are good to go. And make sure that you keep it in the refrigerator. So there you go. Okay, so we are done. So those nuts at the 1/2 cup serving gave me about 16 to 18 ounces of peanut butter, because this is a 24-ounce jar. So you can see that mine came out creamy. It's actually still warm, so don't tell. But this way you know that there's no high fructose corn syrup. There's no sugar. There's no added cane oil. All of those things that typical peanut butters add in. So what? Vinny's talking to me in the background.
Just all you added was just a pinch of salt?
Yeah, so it's just a little pinch of salt and the nuts. Now if you wanted to, if your kids like the taste of Nutella and you want to add in some cocoa, you could totally do hazelnuts and cocoa and a little bit of honey. That would be totally fine. You could figure out how to do that. Play with it till you figure out a recipe that's good for you. But really this whole thing with the warming time took less than 15 minutes to make this, and you know, to know that it's something good that you're feeding yourself and feeding your kids, we can feel good with. So hope you guys enjoyed that. If there's any questions, just let me know. Thanks so much. Bye.